So, Cold War opens up on a submarine in the Doctor and Clara land. Yes, no, we don't get to see exactly why Clara's suddenly there, despite leaving at the end of the previous episode. To be honest, it doesn't really bother me that much. I understand that episode was, I think, the second to be filmed or something like that, and Rings of Akatum was a lot closer to the end of the filming schedule or whatever. So, you know, you can kind of... I'm a lot happy that Clara has become a full-time companion, as much as it does leave that gap. I'm sure someone will fill it in. Maybe there's a mini episode that will come out at some point that will fill in that gap. Who knows? Well, they meet Captain Zhukov and his crew, who are all Russian, apparently. Now, the first thing that I noticed about Doctor Who is they never seem to be able to have the accents. For instance, in Fires of Pompeii, the thing that really stands out is that they're all very, very British, and they don't sound particularly Italian. There could be a reason for that, I don't know. But now it does feel, they make this big emphasis, oh, you're speaking perfect Russian, and all that. You're speaking perfect English. It's a little bit too... It's just very not particularly Russian, to be perfectly honest. But oh well, you know, you can kind of live with it. I guess maybe it's easier to understand, perhaps, for audiences. Who knows? What can I say about it? I'm not going to be able to structure it very well. Okay, let's talk about Clara. Clara did quite a bit in this episode, but she did feel a bit moved to the side at points. But I didn't find her completely useless. She had a nice little character relationship, if you like, with the scientist professor person, whose name I don't remember them saying in the TV programme, so I can't remember. He's a very nice character as well, and it was quite nice when he's trying to get Clara to tell him the future, and it turns out to be some band. What will happen to them in the future, etc. I can't remember what the band was, so sorry. This is on first viewing, so yeah. What can I say about it? The sets were very, very good. Had a nice little claustrophobic feel. It was quite a very tense and scary episode. I think it was very, very well structured. With the exception of the opening, I think it's 10 or 15 minutes. It literally just goes like, whoa, what's happening? Okay, they've arrived, what's going on? The Doctor apparently has a Barbie doll, but that's not even vaguely explained. I mean, you barely notice it. It seems to go a bit too far, so it's a bit difficult to keep track of on first viewing. I mean, I know it is meant to be this action-packed episode, but come on, that's a little bit too much. And the episode was a bit shorter. I've been watching a recording of it, couldn't watch it live, and in total it's only about 41-42 minutes. So I'm sure they could have extended the opening bit a bit more. Feels a bit like the Power of Three, but only a lot less noticeable. The conclusion was quite nice. I guess I'm going to have to come on to it eventually. Skaldak, the Ice Warrior. Mark Gatiss and Sean Moffat promised there was something new with the Ice Warriors. It delved into the fact that they were cyborgs in suits a lot more than previous stories did. Well, I don't remember it being referenced to so much in previous stories. That's a nice little idea. I did feel they put a bit too much... They put too much emphasis on the idea that it was this creature in a suit. And the actual creature itself, when you finally get to see it, when you see the head at least, looks it looks just a bit naff. That's not how I've ever imagined an Ice Warrior to look. It's not even remotely what I imagined an Ice Warrior to look like. I can't think of what it looks like now. But that head just does not match with the hands, and the hands are very, very skinny and like a bird's feet. Which I just can't quite believe for an Ice Warrior. I've always pictured them just having sort of stubby, like human-shaped fingers that went into the claw things, if you like, the gloves. The Ice Warrior design, the shell design, if you like, is very, very good. I thought it was fantastic. The actual creature definitely lacked something. I think, all in all, I would have preferred not to have seen the full head. I think it in shadow was a lot more terrifying, and the actual thing was a bit... I didn't find it quite believable. And the colour of the hands as well, compared to the head, just didn't work for me. I felt they were too contrasting. If the hands were CGI, or the head was a prosthetics thing, I'd live with it a lot more. I mean, as I say, I just can't picture that head working with the shape of the Ice Warrior helmet. I've always pictured the Ice Warriors to be a bit more, I suppose, like the modern Silurians, only without those weird head crests. And sort of reddish, big red eyes and stuff. The actual creature inside, I didn't like the design of the head at all, the hand and everything, no. I just thought it was too naff. The actual cyborg, shall we call it, did very little and was wasted, in my opinion. I really do hope the Ice Warriors return in the future, because it just felt so... It just felt like we never really got a chance to find this creature as a warrior. It felt a bit more like this insane creature on a revenge mission, which I understand was the idea behind it, but maybe you could have introduced the Ice Warriors before now, giving us a proper armour story before delving into all this stuff. Because for people who are new to the Ice Warriors, completely new, they're going to be like, what? To most of this stuff. They don't clear up the Mars stuff very well, so that's not very good. The Doctor does quite a lot, but I do feel it's really lacking in something. I mean, a whole episode felt to be lacking. It was very scary, very tense, but I did feel it was a bit like, I mean, it would have been great to see other Ice Warriors, like, come down, like, I don't know, 2 guards or whatever, to pick Skaldak up. One of the biggest complaints people had with the new Ice Warrior design is the voice. Now, from the trailers, everyone's like, oh god, this is terrible. I suspect even more people are going to be complaining about the actual creature itself. I didn't like it personally, that's just my personal opinion. Do not treat it as scientific fact that it doesn't seem to work with the design of the helmet. I mean, come on. Like, if you don't understand what I mean, it's like, oh, what, people wear crazy helmets. Like in war, like army helmets now are sort of like, are like domes. So they sort of fit on people's heads, but that's like dome shapes, yet the Ice Warrior's head isn't. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. The lighting was very, very good, yes. The supporting cast were very good. I felt, I'm not sure what his name was, but the guy who was first to get killed by Skaldak was a bit like, oh right, I don't get what's up with him. He had one little scene that I felt was a bit like, oh, right, okay, is that all we hear of him? Oh, of course, the voice, as on this. The hissing was very nice, and I like the way they did keep in the emphasis on the S's. The voice was very deep, very cool, but, you know, I felt the creature itself really... It took away from the experience, and it's something best left to the imagination, much like the full reveal of the 456. Because I was itching to see more, and when I actually saw the creature, I was like, oh, No. No. The CGI for the series have been fantastic so far. This episode's only exception was in the design of the Ice Warrior head. It just looked a bit too naff for me. I would have preferred they had sort of shown it in as much shadow as possible. I was much happier in seeing glowing red eyes and little faint shines of the teeth. Overall, a slightly disappointing return for the Ice Warriors. The episode itself was great, but the Ice Warrior itself felt like, you know, you could have got a new monster in there and it would have served the same purpose. It didn't feel remotely Ice Warrior-ish at all. I didn't feel as cleverly defeated. I felt it was like, oh, alright, okay. That's pretty lousy. So overall, I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It was an alright story, but, you know, I just felt it was definitely lacking something. I mean, the episode itself was fantastic, but the Ice Warrior really lets it down what they did with that, and it's just a bit naff. Like, there's little things that they don't explain. Like, a couple of them I don't, like Clara suddenly on the TARDIS, I don't mind that at all. I'm much happier with it that way. Everything else was fine, all the acting and everything was good. Matt Smith was fantastic. It was okay, you know, scary, it was nice and scary, which made a nice change. I felt it's probably the scariest episode of Series 7 we've had so far. Quite possibly the scariest episode we've had since The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon. Well, I think since The Impossible Astronaut, because I felt there were some very nice little scenes when River's in the sewers in particular and stuff. So yeah, 8 out of 10. It was an okay episode. Of course, there'll be a full written review thing on the reviews website, which I'll post a link to down below, or if not, there'll be one on my channel. I recently got the 3 new Doctor Who books. The Shroud of Sorrow, Plague of the Cybermen, and Dalek Generation. I've read the Shroud of Sorrow, so if you want me to do a review on it, let me know in the comment section below. If you want me to do a review on all 3, once I've read all 3, I will quite happily do that. Thanks for watching this review, and I hope you tune in next week for Hyde.